So the Burmese army would throw you into prison for someone drowning
I mean,
on your watch.
this is what he said. I don't know. Back then Burma was still a military dictatorship, so they could have done everything they wanted to do, but they already wanted to get a better reputation for tourists, or for tourism, and I don't know, and it was still a country where with a little bit of bribing you can solve every problem.
Yeah, but they seem to be still a military dictatorship now, right? They've got some issues going on with the Muslims that they're sending into.
Yeah, officially,
Bangladesh or
officially, it's not a military government. A lot of former generals have some high positions in the government, but the official leader of the country is I don't know the name of this person, but is from.
It's that woman.
No.
Woman.
She's based Aung San Suu Kyi. That's her name, but she's the most important figure. But officially, she's not the highest ranked politician. But I think just because she is legally not able to do it for some reasons. So she has a different position, but basically she's doing the job of the prime minister or president or whatsoever.
Ah, so she's not really in control of the country.
No, she's in control, but not officially.
Ah, okay.
But then again, there is obviously some other powers in control, like the former generals.
Right, the military
Yes.
people. And so, are you still in contact with some of the people that you knew?
Yeah, of course. Whenever I'm in Southeast Asia, I visit a friend there, in Burma, in the border town.
Ah, and this last trip that you made, did you see this friend?
That was when was it? That's more than 2 years ago.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think after that was in 2009. I think I saw my Burmese friend. I visited him 3 times.
3 times. And do you still want to go back to Burma?
Yeah. This is still my favorite diving destination.
Even better than the Marshall Islands and all the beautiful places that you were telling me about.
I have never been to the Marshall Islands. The Marshall Islands are in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Yeah, I have seen some world-class destinations, like in Indonesia, for example, but also in Colombia recently, in Malpelo, as I told you in the recent podcast. But I still like Burma better, yeah?
Well, I remember you telling me in Cali that I was very lucky that I was an American because I could go and I could live in this beautiful place in the Pacific.
No, I think I
islands.
was talking about American Samoa.
I thought you were talking about some island where you had to go and then you had to wait 6 months to get a boat to go to it. It was very, very isolated.
I see. No, okay, that was a misunderstanding. Yeah. That was Malpelo. That was the reason why I went to Colombia. Actually, I did not have any interest in Colombia at all. I just wanted to go diving there, and then I flew to Cali, and then I stayed there for six weeks. Was waiting for a cheap offer for a dive boat. But then, as you remember, I got this possibility to sail across the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
But actually you don't know because you left already a few days before.
Right, when we were in Buga. That's when you got the offer.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. But why did you go to Colombia in the first place? Why was Colombia the jumping off point to go to the Pacific?
I would have preferred to go to Panama, actually. it's much easier to find a circumnavigator on some private sailing yachts in Panama, because everybody or a lot of people have to go through the canal.
Right.
But this guy was looking for a crew member when he was in the Galapagos Islands, because he lost a crew member because he had family issues and had to fly home. So I just took a bus down to Quito, which is not a fun ride, especially when there is a few kilograms of cocaine on the bus and you have to wait for a couple of hours at the police station, and you're not allowed to move at all.
They took your cocaine. They took your cocaine?
Mine? No, it was not mine, of course. But the whole bus, the whole bus was just confiscated for a couple of hours, and nobody knew what was happening.
They tore the bus apart looking for the cocaine.
Yeah, I mean, with the dogs and all this kind of stuff, very scary, because you don't know what is happening down there. Somebody put something in your bags, maybe. You don't.
That does happen.
Yeah, you don't have control of your bags.
Well, they do it to the gringos, even though you're not a gringo. They think you're a gringo. They do it to the gringos, the monos. They stick shit in their bag.
Yeah, and I think I was the only one. Well, that's why I was the only foreigner on this trip, on this bus.
Well, then you're a target, and I stupidly always used those army duffel bags, which were very, where you just take a rope and you tie the top of them.
I had the same.
Those would be so easy to put. Oh, you had the same?
Back then, yes.
Oh, then you probably had at least a kilo.
No, they did not find anything in my bags. But it's definitely not a bus ride I recommend. Even the last time in Colombia, that's a few months ago, I talked to people and I always told them, okay, it's probably something you should try to avoid. I always recommend to take buses, because first of all, I don't like flying very much, but I would fly down from Colombia to Ecuador, actually.
Well, I took a bus from, where was it? Popayan to south of Quito. There's a mountain town. I forget the name of the town. So I've been on some of the same roads in a bus. It was because when I had to leave Colombia on my bicycle, I took off without any training, and my knees went bad. The mountains were just killing me. And at Popayan, I stopped and I took my bike apart and I got a bus ticket because I realized that the mountains were going to destroy me. It was too painful. But I do know a little bit about that bus ride.
Right.
And actually, I should remember that on that bus I was stopped. They stopped the bus and they said, "What is this big box? This big box and this duffel bag on the bus?" This happened in Ecuador.
Okay.
And they said the bus can't continue until the person who has these items comes out and talks to the police about them. And I wasn't, when you don't speak the language, you're not always really listening. And then I realized they were talking about my stuff. They were talking about my bike box. And so I had to get off the bus and I had to go talk to the police about it. They didn't open up the box or anything, but they asked me for my passport, and they let me continue into the country with my 2 kilos. Got away with it. Yeah. So I don't. But getting back to this whole idea of like always leaving a place. I keep coming back to this idea of always leaving. It's an exciting way to live, to just keep wandering around. But
I think a person like me, probably like you. I don't know so much. I don't know if it's your problem as well. But I think I will never be a truly happy person, and it doesn't matter wherever I am. I can be here, I can be abroad, I can be on a sailing yacht, I can be on a small beautiful island in the mountains, wherever. I think at some point I need a change, and I don't know, maybe that's my destiny. that I always need a change.
I agree with you to an extent, but I keep wondering if there's just not perhaps I keep thinking about the environments that I like and trying to combine all of those elements. And I think that a lot of it has to do with the people.
And
if the people are good, you feel good. But you have to share. You have to share a lot with the people, but at a very deep level.
You know what? You know what I think. What the problem is? I think we know too much. We are aware how many interesting places are out there. We have read so many things about beautiful, interesting places and people and cultures and its nature. So I think recently you were talking about the bucket list, that it's actually stupid to have a bucket list. But unconsciously, when you read so much, you make automatically some sort of list, what you want to do, what you want to see, what you want to experience. And I think that's maybe one reason why I need these changes maybe.
I agree with you, but the reason, I think there's a primary reason though, is that you're not happy with where you are, which is why all of these other options seem so interesting. They seem so enticing.
Exactly, but for example, if I don't know as much as I know now, I think I would be extremely happy in a very basic environment.
Oh, I agree. But I think that unhappiness of being in your place, it doesn't come from simply knowing that there's something else out there. There are a lot of people that know that there's something else out there that have no interest in leaving. And they really are happy. That's one of the things that's very interesting to me about Texas and Texas people. They are very, very provincial people. They don't want to leave the state of Texas, and they don't want to leave the town they come from. And they really don't like to leave. Their family, they're extremely connected to.
Yeah, but that's
I'm shocked by it. For Americans, that's a very, I guess maybe there are a lot of Americans like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but I've just never felt like that. I've always, I'm connected to my family and the places of my family, but I've always been curious. But there's a difference between being curious and being unhappy. And I think I've been more curious than I've been unhappy. When I leave, it's because of curiosity. When I leave, it's not because I felt like I was driven out from being unhappy.
No, I definitely left sometimes because I was very unhappy. But regarding the Texans, I think Texans are even more proud Americans than probably the rest of Americans. And Americans are always told from the very beginning that it's the greatest country and it's the best people and whatsoever. Why should they want to leave and experience something different? So, they're a little bit brainwashed.
Well, in Texas, I think they think that Texas is the greatest state of the United States.
Okay, you see?
You never want to leave this. It's Texas.
Yeah, you see.
I mean, you saw you remember. I remember you were in the truck with me, and you said, "Oh my God, look at the size of that flag! It's the biggest flag I've ever seen."
Yeah.
Do you know I was riding with another truck driver like a month ago?
Okay.
And he told me one of those flags would cover. One of those flags was so big it would cover it was a flag in front of a used car place, and this place had like cars and cars and cars for as far as you could see. That guy told me that the flag would cover the entire used car lot and probably a half of another used car lot of the same size. It was that big. It was just an enormous flag. It's like the biggest flag you could ever imagine. Like you saw that flag from the roadside and it was huge. But if you get close to that flag, it just goes and goes and goes and goes. It's massive.
Yeah, it was very interesting to see.
That was the flag of Texas too. I think they're very proud people. And I don't. It's easy for someone like me who's lived in New York City or all these other places to make fun of people who feel that way about their state and about their culture, and find it a lot ridiculous. But now that I've lived here, I wouldn't laugh at them. I actually see something positive about all of that. That they're that proud of their state and their place that they live. I think that is a good thing.
Why?
I mean, I wish I had.
What is good about it?
Well, I mean, it seems ridiculous, right? That they would have a big flag and they would be so proud like that. But at the same time, it also shows that they have something which they value. And I think there's this. We live in a kind of a superficial, ironical, but highly intelligent time, which people show off by trying to show that they don't value anything. They value everything and don't value anything.
I don't know. People that are so proud of where they come from, I think they're very ignorant. Like also being a fan of a soccer club or another sports team or whatsoever. I think it's very stupid to do that in such a radical way. It just does not make you understand a different opinion from other people, especially when you're such a patriotic person. I don't know. I don't think it's very positive to be like this. Of course, I understand that it makes probably people very happy to be able to be proud of something, but for the rest, I think it's not very positive.
Well, I know. I think at the level of the United States, like saying you're a patriot and having patriotism about a country of like close to 400 million people, and it's a huge, huge country, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. But if you're proud of where you live in the state of Texas, which is smaller than the United States, it's still obviously big. Very big. It's still big, but Texas does have its own character. It really does. And people are raised here in Texas with a very strong understanding of Texas history, and they believe that they're Texans first and Americans second. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of the perspective I'm taking on it. It's local enough that it's not totally general and meaningless. Like it does mean something to be a Texan, and people are proud to be from Texas. I've never felt proud to be from Michigan or proud to be from Wisconsin in the same way. Yes, I'm proud to be from Wisconsin. That's where I was born, and I think Wisconsin's a great state. But Wisconsin people, I don't even know what the flag of Wisconsin looks like. I have no idea. I've never seen it. No one's ever flown the flag of Wisconsin in the state of Wisconsin.
Okay.
I've never seen it. The only other flags I've ever seen were like the flag of the city of Chicago. I know that flag. The only state flag that I know is the Texas state flag. I mean, because they're very proud of it, and also it's the size of like a football field when they fly it.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
I have seen the Texan flag too. A big one.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Look, I think it's important though to have some sense of a place where you feel not only that you know how to do things in that place, but you feel connected to it. I feel like, and you probably do too, that you could go to South America, Spanish-speaking South America, and very quickly, because you have the language, you could do things and get things done and live a life there. But you would not be connected in the same way that you are to a place like Vienna, for instance. Even though you have a language and you could do stuff in Vienna, you're not as fluent in South America.
It's different levels of connections, I think. In Latin America, I feel connected to the people because they have not lost like the human common sense, human common decency so much as we in Europe, I would say. But in Europe or in Austria, I'm more connected to the people because we share a similar kind of humor, worldview, progressive thinking maybe. But then again, I dislike them for other reasons. It's very hard for me to feel connected to someone anyway. It does not matter where he or she comes from.
Is it possible you just don't like people?
No, I love people actually. So just recently, when I was looking at an old woman's face, she was from India, and she had to say goodbye to her son, and I saw this love of the mother that made me love people again. I mean, I think we just lost too much of what we used to be. Or other things are more important than the things that maybe are still important, but just other things became more important than the real important things, and that's the reason why I'm not very happy about how people behave nowadays. Of course, I know people are good and bad, and or both at the same time, but I think people were more innocent back in the day, even though they also did a lot of crazy shit.
But innocence as a result of not having the technologies that we do, and the communication, the ability to travel,
I think
the knowledge of other places.
I think technology is actually something that is causing more problems than it has good consequences.
Well, I've often been writing and thinking about the idea that we have not. I don't want to use the word evolved. I don't really like that word, but obviously the human being and every animal changes as a result of its environment. But those changes are very slow, and they take many generations.
And these changes are too fast, probably.
Right, but the environmental changes of man manipulating his environment are going much faster than the human animal or any animal, even the other animals, can keep up with. Even the plants and everything on the earth. But then again, at the same time, it's probably likely that there are some creatures and bacteria that are very, very happy to see these changes, and are now having opportunities to grow and develop and be stronger and take power over other creatures. And the idea in the end is that you can't destroy life. There's always going to be some life. You might kill off the humans and the big animals, but there would still be something living on the earth.
Yeah,
even if you had a nuclear war,
probably,
if you destroyed everything,
probably less balanced.
Well, I don't know. I mean, balance. I mean, there's always, nothing is ever going to take total control over everything. Just as destruction, it can't all be destroyed. Wherever life came from, it would be impossible to snuff it out entirely.
Yeah, but
we have not developed the weapon to do that.
But for example, I think a lush green rainforest is a healthier environment than a sandy desert where there's never rainfall, no vegetation, almost no life, and I think that's maybe this is maybe a wound the earth has, a desert. It's maybe beautiful, but it's just not as healthy as a region as other parts, I think.